You look good, you have all of the something there about you. Yes, goodie!
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Goodgal podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're back, we're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How you been?
I have been okay. I have been managing. For those of you who don't know, on October 21st, my big brother actually passed away. So it's been a lot. I don't even I heard the crack in my voice, so I'm gonna say it. But yeah, no, like it's still something hard to grasp, because I feel like the more you say it, it's like the more it's real.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I've just been trying my best to just manage and do the best I can, but it's been hard. I have my days. I'm managing through God. That's all. Like, I'm just trusting God in everything and the process. But it's been a rough few months, but I'm trying to get back into my normal group of things. So doing our podcast, trying to just maintain
Healthy habits.
Healthy habits.
Yeah. I'm alright. Survived the year. Or almost there.
Right.
Well, we're gonna.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. No, for real.
Looking forward to the new year.
This year was a year.
Yeah, it was.
It really was a year. So, as you can tell by the title of this episode, we are talking about the desensitization to tragedy that we see in the social media realm, and the lack of empathy for, tragic incidents. Now, this is coming from a recent tragedy that happened in Jamaica. Now, I don't want to say the young lady's name, because I feel like it's been all over the media and all of that. So, and because I could relate to the situation because of what I just told you guys a lot. So, there have been a lot of reactions on social media to her passing, and a lot of judgments and feedback and thoughts and think pieces. But what I want to discuss is the lack of empathy when things like this happen. So if you don't know what happened, there was a young lady who was visiting. Well, she's Jamaican. She came back. She goes to school abroad, and she was coming back. She came back home for holidays, for Christmas holidays, and she recently graduated from university overseas. So she actually was just home for a bit. She was to go back to start a new job, and she was coming from a party. I think it was one, like in the wee hours in the morning, natural party time. And there was a parked truck. She wasn't the driver, and somebody crashed into it, and she ended up passing away, unfortunately, right? So her father was at the crash site. I think it was CBM or TVJ, one of those news outlets, recorded what he was saying and speaking about it, and he was talking, and he was very calm. He was very just having a conversation, right? And there were different feedbacks, like, people saying, that's weird how he's grieving, and then people had different think pieces, and we're talking about, why are they speeding, partying is bad, like all of these very insensitive comments at a time like this. And it also brought me back to kind of what I experienced like 3 months ago when my brother passed away, because I feel like people were just so insensitive, right? And I want to know, the first thing I don't know, what do you think is this need to analyze and this rush to judgment about something that happened?
I think that's just Jamaican people as a people.
Yeah.
We love to think of our own, like we love to assume, and we love to find out the details, and it presents itself in every situation, and unfortunately it presents itself in a situation that requires a little bit more empathy, and a tragic situation. Because I think even when I was on Twitter, I'm looking through as well, like there were hardly any like condolences. It's more so a lot of like their own assumptions, thoughts, what could have happened differently. Was the truck had hazard lights? Did it not have a hazard lights? Did they see the hazard lights? Like, I'm just like,
were they speeding? I'm just like, yo.
So I mean, you can't change whatever happened.
Yeah.
And so it's just a lot. It's imagine I'm her family member.
Right? And I'm seeing all of these.
And I'm seeing all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That is just heartbreaking. It's overwhelming, and it's
Yeah.
also just unnecessary, because what does that help?
Yeah.
It doesn't help anything.
Yeah.
I still have a loss. You still have a loss, but you're still really hell bent on figuring out what happened and what could have done differently. And and I don't know. It's just something that we do. We do a lot of. We just cast judgment as a people.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I hate to see it. I think I would also consider myself as a little desensitized as well, because like in the moment you feel this level of sadness and like empathy for the family and friends, but then it quickly passes, and you're able to move on so quickly. And sometimes even when I catch myself like, wow, like even if you find someone, like have a loved one that's lost and whatnot, and you are finding yourself like still moving forward, like I have moments where I'm just like, wow, like, you know, I wonder what they're going through right now, because you're able to go about your daily life and just, you know, as desensitized as possible. But that's not the case with the person who's experiencing that grief.
Facts. So like for me, it's weird, right? Because I wanted to talk about this, but then I'm like, it's so funny that this whole situation happened, because it kind of made it, when I tell you, like, it made me really angry because of how I was, what I'm currently going through, because I feel like people are mean. People are so mean when there's a tragedy that happens in your life. And when I saw the rhetoric online, there was only one person, big up Joel, who literally said, guys, why is this the conversation? Like, how she did all of that, like, that's not the conversation that needs to be had. I think when there's a tragedy, Jamaican people, or I don't even want to say Jamaica, label it as Jamaican people, or just say people want to have some form of way to connect to the situation, or try it in a weird, unhealthy way. So it's so crazy to me that people were blaming the driver, blaming the truck, all of that. It's just like, guys, there was a life lost.
And to be honest with you as well, we can't also imagine what the driver is going through.
Exactly.
So it's like you being there, being a part of the experience.
So you're talking about him
loss as
speeding,
well.
you're talking about whatever.
And he has to be blamed for that, and just feeling that it's an heightened loss. And there's also a level of guilt. You remember, well, I don't remember, when I was at Immaculate, and there was this girl, Pia, she was
I remember that.
I remember her, she was tragically shot by her father by accident. And you know, it was something that it shattered the school, I will say, because she was well loved. I will say to this day, she's a well loved soul. And I couldn't help but just constantly wonder what he feels. And it's something that I just couldn't understand, like how him feels
like,
right now. I don't know to this day how he manages, and I hope that he's doing well. But I'm telling you, imagine that loss both ways. Like, it is just a lot. It's a lot. Nobody really and I think back then, I think people were a little bit more empathetic, of course. But no, I would also want to say that I feel like COVID is also a majority part blamed, as well as the level of lack of empathy that we really have as people. It's still because people are just dying left, right, center, and they're throwing people in like trucks. In New York City on the roadside and that. I just feel like those are the little global things that happen that really kind of shifted our brain into this really deep desensitization
to death.
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, at first a couple cases coming in, and you're just like, oh my god, like after a while you're like, oh, another one. It became like nothing. And I really want to say, I mean, just generally there are people who just lack empathy, who kind of just lack empathy. But I personally think my diagnosis for all of this is that a significant part is due to COVID pandemic.
Yeah, and then let me tell you, right? So for me, for example, I have like a lot of personal examples. So when my brother passed, right, and I posted it, because
I didn't post it like when it happened. You guys knew.
When it happened.
No, I didn't post. I think I waited like a week or two. Actually, probably about 2 weeks. I messaged you guys as my friends because I messaged you guys and asked for prayers before. So I messaged you guys as my friends, and then I reached out to the brands that I work with to say, hey, I need time because this happened in my life, right? And when I tell you, like, there was one specific person who, it wasn't a brand, it was somebody I work with that was connected to the brands, and I sent you guys the messages, and it was just like, they were like, oh, like I said, hey, I have these posts and I'm supposed to make them, but you know, I really need time and all of that. And she was literally like, oh, since you do them already, just post them. And I'm like, I would not feel comfortable to post on social media. I don't even want to go on social media right now. Like, I literally did not open Instagram, TikTok, all of that for like 2 weeks after my brother died. Because I was just like, I was literally in this place where I just needed to pray and talk to God because I didn't want to get angry with God because of what happened, right? Especially with me being newly baptized and just like new to the faith, and then my church family was around me a lot. Like, they were calling me, checking in on me, talking to me, and it was just real, like, so I just needed to be in that space with God. And like, when she was like, post, I could not answer her because I was like, it took me days to tell her that, like, yo, you are super insensitive and I don't want to work with you anymore. Point blank, period. Right? So I'm just like, it's weird that, like, you think that I'd be okay to post. A second incident was a cousin, right? A cousin on my mom's side, not my dad's side, was like she literally messaged me and she was like, that's your brother on your dad's side? And I'm like, you know, I have no brothers or siblings on my mom's side, obviously. Like, and then people would say things like, oh, is your half brother? What does that mean? He's my brother. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's my brother. Like, I didn't grow up in a situation where.
First of all, in Jamaica, we don't say half.
We don't say half.
I don't. I don't know.
I don't know that, right? So I'm just like, I don't.
What do you mean?
Yeah, like, what you mean? Like, I don't look at him. I don't love him any less. I don't love him any less than like I would love a full, quote unquote, full sibling. Like, it's not like that. You get what I'm saying?
Sometimes I wonder what's legitimate. Sometimes I wonder, like, when people ask certain questions, like, what's his objective here? What's the object?
And like, you know what she said to me? Literally, she said to me, oh, is your brother on your dad's side? And I'm like, yeah. How did he die?
No condolences.
No, like, literally, like, she was like, oh, I'm sorry. No, I want to read the messages because it was so, like,
distasteful,
mind-boggling to me. She said, this is your brother, right? And I said, yeah. The one he used to stay with, what happened? Because I posted, this is his, as you can see, this is his funeral invitation.
What happened is he died.
He died. What you mean? So I said, he died. And she said, well, that much I figured. How? Or you don't want to talk about it. So I'm like, because it's my family member, I'm like, he got sick suddenly and passed away. Oh, wow, that's crazy. Sorry to hear. My love goes out to you and your family. I said, thank you, right? So she said this. And then the next post, she hasn't reached out to me. She hasn't called to check on me. It's just Instagram, which honestly, I don't have a problem with that. You're not obligated to reach out to me when something happens. You've already given your condolences.
All right, yeah,
fine.
Especially if you're not close, which
you're
not.
We work pretty close.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just like, fine, right? And I'm like, the next thing she says to me is, I posted something for a brand, right? I just started get back into the posting in November. This is November, right? November 13th to be exact. And she says, you gain weight though. And I'm like, I was like, you think this is something kind to say to your cousin who is grieving? I said, you need to watch the things you say and try to be more considerate of people's feelings. She then replies, it wasn't that serious. I just thought it was happy weight. Sorry if I
Why would you be happy?
Why would I be happy? Sorry if I offended you. I find gaining weight to be a good thing. So I said okay and inserted her name. You're gonna tell me that you said you gain weight though, and you're gonna be like happy weight. Do you know that when some people are depressed or sad, they actually put on weight? Like I've literally, and let me tell you how I know say sad. Because when I'm usually like, when I'm man sad or things like that, or life sad, I usually don't eat.
That's me, girl.
I get skinny. So for me to put on weight is a different type of grieving experience, because I don't think anybody in my adulthood, like my grandmother died when I was in second form, but you expect your grandparents to pass away. Your parents explain that to you. But to lose a brother who I thought would be there till we're old, like a life situation, it's like, it's a different kind of grieving process. So yeah, possibly put on a little weight. But I'm like, why are you saying that to me?
It also comes back to it's still a desensitization. Obviously not to people, but also to people's feelings in general.
In general. You gain weight though? What do you mean happy weight? Like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm confused.
I was so confused. When I tell you this, I was like,
I didn't say a good fear reply though, but like.
No, let me tell you what I said. Like,
but I liked how you responded.
Yeah.
It was very mature, and it's also making it very clear that this is not okay.
This is not okay.
You can also change.
You need to change.
Yeah.
And her response to me was like, instead of being like, because if somebody said that to me, I'd have been like, look, I'm so sorry. Yes. Like, I would have been so apologetic. I would have been so sorry, and I maybe would have given it some time and then reach back out and apologize again. But then that's the person I am.
Yeah.
She has not said anything to me.
No, because she's shame.
Because it's like,
shame.
And I'm like, what? And let me tell you, the points, and there was so much of that, and it's like, especially being on this journey like this, turn the other cheek thing that God is constantly asking me to do, and I'm like, Jesus, stop asking me to do this, because you literally have to. I can't say that I'm a representative of God and I'm not handling things with grace, because honestly, I didn't want to tell her something. Like, if I tell you what came to my mind to tell her, because she has a family member, right? I'm gonna just say like, you know what I mean? And I was like, that's the first thing that came to my mind, and like God held that thought. And said no.
And I want to ask you a question as well, because I see both ways where people grieve and they retreat. And I guess that's the more commonly known way of people grieving. But I do find that there are people who if they're still connected to the internet, they also get a significant backlash about it. But what do you think about that one?
So when everything happened, right, I had a specific family member who was posting a lot, like, and just posting like, cryptic messages or codes, or just like, and like I had a family member who like went out and was like doing, and I had a family member who was posting a lot, and everybody grieves in their own way. Everybody has to go. This is not something that's easy to do. No. It's not something that is easy to process. Everybody has their own way to grieve and receive and like to get better. So because I'm calm, that don't mean I don't go ball in the night.
Right.
Or that don't mean say,
because for me, I feel like also people who are very also still super connected and still seemingly normal, they're also fine. It's a distraction as well, because some people, they really don't want to be left with their thoughts, so then go into they maybe know that they have tendencies to be depressive or in depressive states, or they just don't want to deal with that just yet. It might be still a stage of grief where they're in or maybe denial stage. Yeah. But I feel like they get a lot of backlash as well, and I also wonder, like, is it fair for us to be like, no, you can't be connected to the internet?
There's no way. If you lose somebody, there's nobody on this planet who should tell you how and what to feel. You feel what you feel. You might not feel it immediately, and then you don't know, a couple of days later it just hits you, and you're like, wow, like this need to try to analyze somebody based on what you think they should do, and you don't know the person, like, it's very unkind.
It's weird.
And it's weird.
It's so weird
because people were there and saying, oh, like, even her father giving the interview and talking about what happened,
And I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's exactly how my father was.
So what were they saying?
So they were saying how, it's weird that he can still speak and talk and
It's
all of
weird.
that during give an interview
So he
right
was
on the spot after his daughter passed. And I'm like,
the grace of God is what allowing that man to actually speak.
And I'm like, he just watched her graduate.
Mm-hmm.
She came for Christmas. He picked her up on the airport like 3 days ago. What do you think? What do you think this man who has taken care of her whole life, been active in her life, love his daughter, what do you think he's feeling?
And to be
Why
honest
do you
with
think that you can watch a video and understand his perspective? What gives you the right?
And to be honest with you, people don't understand also maybe the dynamic that people have in their family. And to be honest with you,
Yeah,
it might just be that he has to be the strong one for everybody.
yeah.
But nobody understands that.
Nobody understands when you need to be the strong one. They don't get it.
No.
Because people are like, because for example, like with me, I had to do the
You
funeral.
were definitely strong
I
one.
definitely was. I had to do the funeral programs. I had to do the invitation. I had to do the, you know what I mean? Like there's me and my auntie Pat. Strong, like we were the two people who were like there. My auntie Julia as well. Like we were like there because we didn't need like. Because even I remember, I'll never forget like going into, because I landed, because he was buried in Miami and I landed on the Friday. The Friday when I landed, we had to go and look at his body. And when my father saw him, he walked, I'll never forget that. He walked out and he hit the wall with his arm and he went into the bathroom. And I know that he just needed like a moment. Because it's like,
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
I couldn't even look at like when I saw it.
Yeah,
I had to like.
I don't know if
I ran out.
I don't know if I.
But you have to view it, and I'm like, and Daddy had to view it, and because it's like, and I'm like, oh crap, I can't make him do this by himself.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, but I couldn't make him do it by himself.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And I'm like, people don't even know how much goes into funeral planning and all of that and everything that you have to know, organize. And the back of chattings, the people that will call you up on
I
the
was just
phone.
about to ask you about. I also was not ask you, but also comment on. And I know we're getting deeply into just grief, but to be honest with you as well, we also find that death brings out a lot in families, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Child. And so you're dealing with grief and you're dealing with the family dynamics and dynamics of even like your workplace.
Yeah.
And people like I've seen it and I've seen it so much in my recent time with people, family members from my current team, and then had their passing, and why are you not at the event? And they're asking the people like, why are you not doing this or why are you not doing that? And I'm just like, from the outside looking in, like, are you okay?
Yeah, like what?
No.
What? Like, that's one thing I can say that, like, for the most part, people who I work with, there was just one person that I think was insensitive, but for the most part, everybody who I worked with was pretty great. So, and then honestly, I have a good workplace environment with most of my team, my direct team members. So it wasn't, and they were very super understanding. You know what I mean? People call and were like, and they weren't like, they were just like, condolences, is there anything you need us to do? Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. It was never like, how did he die? What happened? I'm sorry. Like,
it's the whole. It's every time for me. It's the whole.
Why are you so curious to know how people die? There's
first.
So much. Like, you know what's crazy? Like, I understand back in the day when there was like lack of access to information and no internet and all of that. I understand that. But now it's like, is that a tragedy or sickness or natural causes? Like three of them. Like.
But I want to try to like, but how do we help people to, because to be honest with you, like, I don't know, something, like, sometimes I'm just like, how can you help people to develop empathy?
That's so true.
Is it that they have to experience it themselves to have that level of empathy?
And that's unfortunate because, and let me tell you, COVID, as you made the point, COVID showed me how much people lacked empathy because something as simple as wearing a mask to protect people who had underlying illnesses that COVID could really affect was a problem. My dad was in the hospital during COVID.
I remember that.
And that was hell for me because my dad is like my best friend. Yeah. So like honestly it's just God. Like literally it's just God because where he went
on there's a scale thing that I use.
Yeah, it was
He peaked. He peaked, and I was like, I remember calling. I was like, "Yo, I don't know what's gonna happen or whatever." And he woke up back the next day, and the doctor literally looked at him and said, "If you are a praying man, don't stop praying." Like that's what the doctor said to him, right? And I was like, I thought it really made me go into some deep thoughts, and was like, wow, something as simple as wearing a mask was so hard to protect people, and people were like dying around him. It just wasn't a good environment.
It was just also very insensitive as to how we thought. It was just like, oh, she just a mask, or
we just can't go out, like,
or I just can't understand. And I'm just like,
what? You just can't go out. Like people are in the hospital dying, like, you know. So I think, I don't know, when it comes to, I think there's
showed us a lot for you.
That
showed us a lot for you.
It showed us a lot.
God, I'm so happy we made it through. Honestly, I hope we don't have to go through that again. To be very.
And even some thoughts and points that people had, I was like, oh wow, but do you think you're absent? But you never have none.
But
do you think you're smart?
It showed a lot.
But you're fool.
It really.
Yeah,
brought everything
to the table. Yeah, there's some people that I won't look at you the same. Yeah. Like, what do you mean this is 5G? What do you mean?
You know, wow.
Yeah, man. The North has not forgotten. Do you remember tissue?
No, I remember tissue. That's it, but that shit was scary.
Like, why do we recording tissue? That's so crazy.
You don't think it's like some
every time there's
activating disease,
like
because the tissue though.
People are so crazy. Honestly, people are so crazy. But I don't know. I think when it comes to the lack of empathy, I think I prepared something. So I think my key points is stop asking people how they die. If you hear of a tragedy, how they got sick, how they died, how you don't.
If they don't share it,
there's no. Don't just ask how.
Yeah.
Right. So if you and the person are close, like clearly, when I told you guys, it's like
with information,
and
I wasn't even going to.
Yeah, like I'm like
information not coming. I'm not asking.
Yes, it's like even if because your friends, you can ask your friends, "Are you okay? What happened?" And then you talk about it. But none of my close friends asked me what happened.
Right.
None of them
shared.
All of you guys were just like, "Are you okay?
Right.
Are you good?" You get me? And that is what you need to ask.
Yes.
So instead of asking what happened, ask, "Are you okay? Do you need help with anything?"
I don't know.
That's it, right? Send your condolences and go. Also, too, the FaceTime calls. What? You never video call. Girl, people are video calling. Yeah, like
see your bad?
I'm just like,
why?
You never video called before, and it's not like I have a list of people who have video called.
Yeah, I don't.
And it was just like people were randomly video calling me like, oh,
to see your face.
I heard about you, brother. Da, 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 da. And I'm like,
yeah. Now you have to see my face looking at you like
weird. Like weird, and I'm just like, okay. So don't do that. Just send a message.
Yeah.
You can call, but just, are you okay? And honestly, as well, the opinions, keep them.
What could have been done differently?
Keep them to yourselves. I was at my brother's wake, and somebody came up and was like, "Something's wrong. That hospital is this and that, and we need to sue the hospital."
You do that.
You guys need to sue the hospital. That's $1 million lawsuit.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, you're talking about a lawsuit right now, and I just buried my brother. I just walked away. I didn't even say anything to the person. I just looked at her and I walked away because I was like, so like your thoughts and opinions, keep them here to yourself.
Belch it out.
Belch it out. But we don't need to hear it.
It's out.
It's a lot. So those were like my key things like don't ask how what happened, just ask if the person is okay, if there's anything you can do.
Yeah.
No random video calls or anything like that if you never talk to. Don't start to extra reach out unless it's like to just genuinely, how are you?
Yeah.
You need anything? Or just offer, because sometimes you don't even know what you want in situations like that.
A lot of my friends brought me lunch. A lot of
And I
them
think-
brought flowers
and I
or
think
a card.
For me, I think, and I've never really experienced like close death before, and hopefully not soon. But I've heard people say that I'm sorry is not something that they like to hear, because it's like, why are you sorry? I don't know if that mattered to you.
For me, no, because again, I have a level of grace that I give people because I know that in those situations it's hard. So it's like for them to even take up the phone and reach out, it took a lot from them. So I tried to be, but no, when they said I'm so sorry or anything like that, it didn't bother me, but I know that it does trigger some people.
Yeah, it does.
It's like, what you sorry about?
No, they get very, because people deal with grief differently. People are very like angry.
Some people get angry. Yeah. So I think watch your words, and also too, literally, don't share an opinion. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to share your thoughts.
I don't know.
Your
At
opinion.
that point, it's really not necessary.
It's just not necessary.
It's not your personal view on what something that I can't change.
Like him done gone. She done gone. Like what? Yeah. So I don't need your opinion or thoughts on what is happening, and especially social media. If somebody passes away, say condolences, rest in peace. If you even need to talk about it, go in your group chat.
Please.
There's a lot of things that were said on social media, and I'm like, guys, if you wanted to say this, you guys could have formulated a group chat and had this conversation.
But I'm around for chat about everything else.
And then also too, if you know that if you wouldn't like something done to you, don't do it to somebody else. Golden rule.
That's it.
That's it for me. So yeah, I just think we need to be more empathetic and kind, and this experience has taught me that, like, wow, there's a lot of people that I won't speak to. And it's not that I have beef with them, because there's a, when I tell you, said those two examples I gave you is just two. There was other people that I just.
But it's also like, as you said, death or grief brings out, it should be seen more. It's a different lens for people, and it's just like, okay, well, this shows the type of character deep down perhaps that you are. Yeah. And you don't want to be aligned to that, and that's okay.
Facts. And it's not like, as I said, there's I don't have beef, but it's more like, because I don't have you up, but I just know that character and my it's not gonna mesh. Like I feel like those things also really show you who people are truly and how they think. Yeah. So you kind of know how to operate. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, empathize, please. Jeez, yeah, we just need to be a little more sensitive to people's feelings.
In all things.
In all things, actually. Especially online. Online, I feel like.
Because even if I didn't have a tragedy in the family, you commenting on my weight, you don't know what I'm going through. You're fatty, you're slimmy, you're this, you're that, your hair gets shorty, you're tall, like
I think just it's people's appearances that we love to speak about. But I have something to say, but I'll leave it alone. Because it's not of the Lord. Leave that one alone.
Yes. So that was an episode of the Goodgal podcast, and we thank you for listening. Bye.